I'm so glad you're here listening to the Sustain Your Passion podcast. I'm Genesis, your host and business development expert. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and income while helping others, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to help you sustain your passion. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. And today I'm going to talk with you about how I run a very social business, like a coaching business online, where I sell on social media, even though I'm an introvert. And you might be thinking, really? She's an introvert? Yes, hello. That is why I love reading. I love deep conversations. I love napping. I love being alone. I really enjoy my own company. I could spend the whole day thinking, and I would be really happy. Some days I do, and it's the best. I go for walks alone. I will sit on my patio alone, and I just recharge that way. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy social interactions. That's a really common misconception through popularized psychology. So things like magazines or social media or whatever, blogs and stuff, that have gotten it wrong about what it actually means to be an introvert. It doesn't mean that you don't like people. It just means that being around people takes a lot of your energy, whereas an extrovert is more likely to receive a lot of energy from being around a lot of people. They actually leave their social interactions more energized. They want to go to another party. They want to go do another thing. Whereas an introvert like me, I'm going to have a good time at the social gathering, especially if I know people and my social anxiety isn't too bad that day. And I remembered to take my ADHD meds and I did mindfulness meditation and all of those other caveats. And I know the people and what's going to happen and all of that because, anxiety and overthinking gets the best of me. But if I have enjoyed a social interaction, even if I had a good time, I need to be left alone for multiple days, or I at least need my regular routine to also not have been changed in order to be ready to actually go and do another thing the next weekend. And that means that when I am running my business, right, I most of the time am draining energy because running a very social business like a coaching business online where I primarily meet my clients on social media, I'm interacting with people all day long. My clients, my work is talking to people. My work is listening deeply to people, seeing their patterns, hearing their concerns, digging into their beliefs and helping them rework them so that they can reach their goals. Teaching them along the way the strategies they need and holding them accountable, sometimes even in uncomfortable moments and conversations. Now, I love that work. And so that means that as an introvert, early on in my career, I had to figure out how the heck was I going to continue to sustain my passion for this work, even as an introvert. And then starting my business, it was a whole nother level. So I want to just talk through some of the most common areas that I and my clients struggle as introverts leading very social businesses. So the first area is a lot of times I'll hear that social anxiety holds people back from showing up on social media. And this was true for me too for the first couple years of my business. I was really just in the behind the scenes kind of thing. I was tinkering, I was writing a lot, I was reading a lot, I was thinking a lot, but I wasn't really showing up. And I wasn't actually putting myself out there, even though I desperately wanted to be helping people. And I wanted to overcome that social anxiety and that introversion of I just want to know my thoughts and not have other people know them type of thing. But the confidence just wasn't there. And so it took me time to actually overcome it. And if you are feeling that way, if you're I know I want to share more in my social media about my coaching work and about the things I know and what I do with my clients and the transformation I hold in my coaching programs, here's your first piece of advice. Start smaller. Whatever you think you have to go do for social media that is stressing you out, that is feeling draining and overwhelming, I bet you there's a way that we could shrink that goal down and make it even easier for you. So if you're telling yourself that you have to be posting a reel every day on Instagram, no, you don't. You absolutely do not. Maybe you post one this week. Maybe it's one of you not talking directly to the camera. Maybe it's not your face at all. Maybe it's not even a reel. Maybe it's just a like one of the square posts and it's a picture of you that you love from the past. Maybe it's not even a picture of you at all. Maybe it's just words on the screen. Like, make it less scary. Take whatever it is that you're trying to do to like show up and put yourself out there on social media that feels really vulnerable and scale it back a bit. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not still going to be scary, but if you start with a smaller step that feels manageable, even if it's something you did last week, which, I mean, I should probably make a whole podcast about this, but like the biggest lesson I had to learn in social media marketing is you have to get used to repeating yourself. Like, if you want to see sales roll in, you have to get comfortable repeating yourself. Like, you don't have to be coming up with creative, fancy new lessons to share all the time. In fact, that actually muddies your message and your expertise. And that's, like I said, a whole other podcast. Let me know if you want to hear more about that. But for this one about managing your business as an introvert, I want you to know that whatever you're challenging yourself to do that feels really socially overwhelming on social media to put yourself out there, I swear we could make it smaller. And if you're struggling to figure out how do I take this goal that I have and make it smaller, send me a message. Like, this is what I do with my clients all day long, so I can help. Okay, your next tip for putting yourself out there on social media is to practice and practice and practice some more, and then prepare for the worst. But know that you're probably not going to get the worst reaction. If you're using good hashtags that match your brand and match your values, if you're being really specific in your posting, if you don't have a massive following that's like getting tons of shares onto like big platforms, the people that are going to see your posts are probably people that already like you, that you already know. So the chances of them being like harsh on you or mean or even contrarian is pretty low. Most people will interact with a post if they are just kind of dicks, in which case, like, fuck them. But if they see it and they're like interested, then they're going to interact. Like, they're way more likely to interact positively. And if somebody is rude, like, literally do not care about them. But I know that's easier said than done. So I need you to practice for what you're going to do. And whether that means like, okay, I'm going to post and then I'm going to go for a run. Or like, I'm going to prepare to share this and then I'm going to monitor it for 15 minutes and then I'm going to put my phone down for the next hour and step away from it and go do something I love, like walk my dog. Like, don't just let yourself sit there and ruminate and be worried and overthink that post and then like edit it a bunch and like delete it and put it back up and all of that. Like, I have been there and it does nothing for you. It just causes you more anxiety, and your introversion is not going to be cared for in that moment because you're not actually honoring your introversion, which is to actually want to go inward. And that's what you need to like make a plan for, right? So I'm going to post this and then I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to post this and then I'm going to do something for myself. Like, I'm going to journal or something like that. I'm going to go read a book that I really like. So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself and you're preparing for how you're going to nurture yourself after you do something that we know will take a lot of energy from you, like posting on social media. And then my comment about like prepare for the worst and like negative trolls and whatnot, I'm going to say this again later, but I want you to really hear me that like, if someone doesn't like your work, they are not your ideal client and their opinion does not matter. That's the most blunt way I can get at that, is that you are creating content for your ideal client. You are here to make sales, and the only people that are going to buy from you as a coach are your ideal clients. And so and they're going to like you. So if somebody engages on your post and they're rude, they don't like you, they say something mean, like, they're not your ideal client. They're not going to buy from you. So don't waste time thinking about them. Okay. Last tip for showing up on social media. If you're feeling like, social anxiety is what's getting in the way with your introversion, I want you to emphasize your strengths as an introvert, which is probably writing. Introverts are way more commonly gifted in the writing variety than sometimes like speaking. And so depending on where you fall on that, you may find that it's a lot easier for you to open up a Google Doc in the morning and write a journal to your ideal client and then pull out one sentence from it like a journal, like free write, and then pull out one sentence from it and turn it into a social media post than it would be for you to try and sit and script, like write out a script of what you're going to say in a reel. So use that to your advantage. Also, alternatively, like sometimes we can get in our heads, right? And overthink our writing. So you need to figure out what works best for you and what your strengths are as an introvert and really play to them. For me, it's actually talking. Like I will sit and overthink things for days if I let myself write it out. But if I just like go with it, it's a lot easier. I also, this is like another side note, ADHD brain moment. My energy flows like up and down like a friggin' roller coaster throughout the month, and I just let that happen. Like some days I want to post like 7 times and I just write out all that content and schedule it for the month, versus other days I like don't even want to look at my phone or know that I have a social media presence, which is fine. Like I just won't get on social media that day, and thankfully there are scheduling apps. So if you know yourself and you know your strengths, you can play to them and emphasize them. So a couple examples of that were that you might be better at writing or speaking, depending on how your introversion shows up. You also might be way more likely to share like deeper thoughts, which probably is why you like being a coach. You get to talk to people and you're interested in people and why they do the things they do and wanting to help them. Like, let that be seen. That's okay. So yeah, those are my tips for you about how to overcome your social anxiety that comes with being an introvert if you're not used to being seen and putting yourself out there a lot. The next area I wanted to talk about that I get asked about a lot is the superficiality. Is that a word? Like superficial interactions that social media kind of just breeds. Like it's really common, rather. And I don't think it's the only way you can interact on social media accounts. So here's what I like to do as an introvert that's running a very social business, specifically through social media as my lead generation source. I really seek to create genuine connections with people that I like and that have similar values as me and similar goals as me. There are billions of people on social media. There are definitely enough people to sustain your business and to keep you focused on people that are comfortable for you to talk to. Introverts often really struggle with like superficial conversations. We just want to dive into the deep stuff. Like I don't really care about some petty thing that happened today. I want to know how your heart is. Like, I want to know how your thoughts are. I want to know how you're feeling and what your goals are and if you're working towards them. Like, that's not typically what people want to open with when they like bump into someone at the coffee shop. But that's a really cool thing about social media is there are subreddits that you can go to where people are actively having those conversations and you can build genuine connections and friendships with people that have similar thoughts and likes and interests and values as you. Same thing with Facebook groups. I've made some really great friends through Facebook groups that are centered on identities that I have and that can dive in deeper, because just having random interactions like doesn't really feed my soul. It makes social media feel petty and unimportant. But when I go first as a coach, I find that I actually start those genuine conversations and build deeper connections with people that I have more in common with than anywhere else. So what that looks like for me is I really try to model the thing I teach my clients, which is that as a coach, you have to have gone first. So you have to have lived the thing you're coaching your clients on, because ultimately, if you don't have that personal experience, you don't share the same struggles as what you're trying to tell your clients to work through, and you're probably not going to be able to empathize nearly as deeply as you need to sustain your business. So what that means is that there is likely a story that you could be telling about what you do on your social media that relates back to your lived experiences. And telling stories, including things like how you were feeling, what you learned, how it went, what you did with that experience, how it impacted you moving forward, and the good and the bad. Like, starting to share first inspires other people to dive into that deep, authentic relationship with you and makes it more exciting for you as an introvert to be on social media in general, because your interactions aren't that superficial. Like, hope you have a good day, happy Friday. Like, here's some random quote. Like, it's actually speaking to the heart of what you do and what you care about and what your values and lived experiences are, which is so much more satisfying and can be more engaging for introverts rather than like the superficial interactions that social media typically foster. But if you're not getting that from some of the other spaces that people have created, remember that you can be creating that space too. Whether that's in your post or inviting people to message you or starting conversations on people's posts or in their messages, sharing vulnerably helps other people see that it's okay to also do that, and then inspires those deeper, more authentic connections. And another way you can do this is to listen and engage actively with your community. So if you have a social media presence with any number of followers, literally any number, you should be using polls often. I'm going to challenge you to do like one this next week. If you're listening to this, put out a poll. And this can be like on Facebook. I think they have a poll feature in your posts, but if not, you can even say like, which picture do you like, A or B? Which quote do you like more, A or B? And then have people comment below. Or which do you relate more to, this quote or that quote? Tell me in the comments. Or you can put it on screen and like put a picture and like have people, or put 2 pictures or 3 pictures and have people pick one. Or if you want to say like, you know, an inspirational thing, like how do you want to feel by the end of this work week? And then list 4 options and have people that are viewing your stories on Instagram like pick one of the options and engage with you. And then what people tell you, actually follow up on that. So either message them and say like, hey, I saw you voted for wanting to feel peaceful. That's really cool. Like, I agree. What does being peaceful look like for you? Do you have a plan for that this week? Like, start offering support and build relationships with people as they're telling you what they're looking for and what they're doing and what they care about and what they like and what they don't like. So build in an information feedback loop with your audience. Now, if you have an email marketing system up and running, which by the end of Passion to Paychecks, all of my clients have access to the exact format of what I recommend their email intro should look like. And we plan out what their email lead magnet could be for their program. So it is getting them people on their email list. So if you are one of my clients, listen up. But also if you are thinking about starting an email list, add this to your emails. Put questions in them. Give people the chance to respond to you. Make it known. And here's the thing, like, I'm pretty sure in my first couple emails in my welcome series, I ask for questions. Almost no one responds to them. Like, literally, I have maybe had one person respond to the question I put in my email. But here's the thing. People recognize that you asked. Even if they aren't responding in that moment, the next time they see a poll on Instagram, the next time they see you ask a question on Facebook, the next time you invite people to comment and talk to you on TikTok, they'll remember that you genuinely mean it. You actually care about them. You were listening. You were there on the other side of their computer screen or their phone. You're a real person. So if you're getting frustrated because of the superficiality, I hope that's a word, it sounds right, of social media as an introvert, your challenge is to start deeper conversations and find them, because they are happening already. And if you're not able to find ones that you genuinely enjoy, start your own. So that's your challenge from this podcast episode. Start a poll or post a question even, but try to get people to talk to you so that you can actively listen to what your audience is saying and delve deeper into the conversation with them. Now, here's the other thing I want to encourage you to do. Actually create a supportive community. So what that can look like is giving free advice, doing an audit, giving a strategy away, having people sign up for a freebie, have people tag each other to cheer you on or cheer each other on, having people share their wins, having people tell you their goals for their week. Anything that actually has people getting to know one another supports you and them. Shout out one of your followers in your Instagram story. Tag somebody on a Facebook post. Reshare somebody's TikTok. It doesn't have to be all about you all the time. So actually create a supportive community where people get to know other people and see that you interact with people too. That will continue to model that you are here for genuine, deep, authentic relationships, not just pictures of your butt in a bikini. Like, you're not just here for likes and superficial engagement. You're here for real connections, which as introverts, we are way more likely to burn out from bullshit conversations than we are from deeper, real conversations. So don't let the superficial capability of social media keep you stuck there. Dig deeper. Okay, the third area I wanted to talk about is the actual coaching call experience. So coaching is a very social interaction. Like, by nature, coaching happens through question asking, right? Coaching as a form of communication is designed to help other people bring out their self-knowledge through questions and reflections and like interacting with someone else, right? So like, as an introvert, I've had to learn a couple ways to not actually self-sabotage myself from making more sales because, oh no, that means I'd have more calls and that's going to be stressful because it's more peopling, and actually recognizing that there were things I could do to make it where adding more calls to my schedule was really exciting and didn't end up burning me out by the end of the week where I didn't want to go hang out with my friends or my husband or talk to anybody because I was so tired. So if you're worried at all about how to create a comfortable coaching call experience for yourself as an introvert, you're going to love these tips. Okay, so first, you have to talk to your clients about your expectations. And this can be direct, like on the orientation call with them, or like on the sales call, or on your first coaching call with them. You can have a discussion about how you expect your calls to go. I really like to do this in a more passive way. So I have it in my client agreement form. So like the terms of use that people sign when they join my program. But also I have it in my workbooks inside of Passion to Paychecks. So one of the first things that happens is you get access to my workbook that becomes your workbook, and we work in it together to actually develop your business assets like your brand and your program and your marketing strategy and all that. But one of the first things on, I think it's either the first or second page, is it talks to you about what's going to happen on our coaching calls and how I expect you to interact. A couple of things is it's really stressful for me if I'm on a Zoom call and everybody has their mic off or on. I don't know how to explain that, on or off, but like mute is my best friend. I run these group calls that sometimes have 10 or 15 people on them. And even when it's one-on-one, it's the same thing. Like if there is just a ton of background noise, like that distracts the heck out of me and ends up being so much more stimuli that I have to manage other than the work of coaching, that I ask my clients, like, please know that I expect you to use your mute unless you are actively being coached on these group calls. And I expect you to use a chat. But I don't want people just coming off mics and just like everybody talking at once. Like that is so stressful for me to have to manage. So I set that expectation up front. I've never had someone push back on me and be like, that's ridiculous. Because also part of my branding is being upfront about the kind of person I am. And that's why I'm even recording this podcast. I don't typically get like boundary pushers into my programs. But if I did, I would be really clear about what is and isn't okay, because me being comfortable on my coaching calls is so important, not just for my own like comfort, right, and ability to sustain my passion for my work, but also for my clients to get the best service. Because if I'm not able to be present with them and listen deeply to what they're telling me and catch their tone when they pause or notice their nonverbal expressions that's changing as they tell me about a goal, like, I'm not going to be able to respond to them as deeply as I want to be able to respond to them. So I have to set clear expectations so that I can be comfortable on those calls. And as an introvert, that means that I have to have things be pretty quiet. Like my group coaching calls, sometimes it's like I'm talking and like all 15 of them are typing back to me. And it works. It's how I can serve more and more people and at a really high caliber. So it's okay to have expectations. It's okay to have like boundaries in place and communicate them to actually create a comfortable experience for you and your clients. I think it's also really helpful to establish a routine. So as someone who, like, I do not do the same thing day after day. Like, I don't mean routine, like every morning I get up at 8 and then I do this and then I do that. And then tomorrow I do the same thing at 8. Like, I do not know. Routine and consistency have very different definitions in my world. So what I mean by this, though, to be able to be comfortable on my calls is I establish a routine of I always make sure I have my water ready. I always make sure that I can talk on speaker, so I'm in a quiet enough place that I can put my client on speaker so I can comfortably sit or lay down or whatever. And if it's on a Zoom call, I'm always clear that that is like not my preference, but I will do it for my clients if they want like video. And on group, it's always on video, but like on one-on-ones, it's almost always phone calls. And I am comfortable with communicating about those things because that routine helps me. Like, knowing what to expect helps me feel more comfortable and do my best work. It's like if, I don't know, this is going to sound super fucking pompous, but I don't know how to I don't know how to say it differently. But like if Picasso wasn't able to paint with Picasso's like favorite brushes, like, why the fuck wouldn't you give Picasso his favorite brushes? Like, that makes sense. Like, you have a craft and a skill. You need the right tools to do it. So, like, as a coach that's introverted, I need to have what I need to have in place to be comfortable to do my work the best way I can. Okay, I thought of another example for that. You would not go to your favorite restaurant and be like, hey, I'm going to bring in all new kitchen supplies and all new ingredients, and I expect you to make me my favorite dish that I had last week. No, like, they have routine. They have structure. So if you are taking your calls in very different rooms, if you aren't establishing like what you need, like whether it's a pen and paper or if you should have your dog out or not, or if they need to be put away in their kennel or whatever, like, you aren't taking your job seriously enough. And as an introvert, running a social business, like, you have to get used to what you need and set your routines in place so you don't forget shit. Like, it's the worst if I sit down for a call, especially if it's on Zoom, because it's like awkward, right? To be like, hold on, I'm still here, but like, I need to go to the other room. If you forget your water or whatever, like, I just like being prepared because that means that I can focus on what's going on and not feel overwhelmed. So I highly recommend that if you also are an introvert, you consider, like, what does your before and after a coaching call and even during routine need to be like so that you can prepare for it and then do it. And then I guess with this, I've already said it, but like, leverage technology for your comfort. And that can look like things like using mute on Zoom calls, using chat, doing voice only, recording in case you struggle to like talk and write at the same time and you need to take notes, using voice memos, like whatever you need to do to keep in touch and just leverage technology. Like, what's the thing where you can like voice to text? Like, use that if that helps you too. So there are so many different apps too, and just like technology features that can make it a lot easier as an introvert to run a social business. Okay, last couple of things I want to make sure I say to you. My like biggest lesson learned is that I need alone time without stimuli that I'm not choosing. So I don't know if it's the introversion in me, if it's the OCD, the ADHD, the trauma, the personality. Like, I don't know where it comes from. But I think it's probably a bit of the introversion. If I don't get time every day where I get to choose what I'm doing, whether that's that I'm choosing to take a really long and luxurious shower, I'm choosing to read my book, I'm choosing to go take a nap in the hammock, like, I'm choosing to go sit on the porch with the dogs for a little bit and, like, be alone. If I don't get that time where I am actively choosing what I'm hearing, reading, seeing, doing, I can get really overwhelmed and feel so burnt out. And I think that's because in a very social job, I am thinking about what other people need all the time. As a good marketer, as a good coach, you should be thinking about what your ideal client needs all the time, just like I do. And that means that you are working in your empathy strength so much that you also need to know how to turn that empathy capability back towards yourself and gift yourself alone time, stimulus-free time. Like, shut your eyes and mindfully breathe for a while. Meditate to a guided meditation, or just simply sit and breathe and stare at a tree. Recharge and take your internal time seriously. I remember a couple years ago, I was training someone on like how to do business process mapping, which, if you've been in Passionate Paychecks, that's when I show you the marketing funnel that shows the coach and the client and all of the steps that they take through the customer journey map, basically how to create customer journey maps like that. I was teaching them how to do that. They asked me, what's the number one thing that you think makes you so good at this? Because I've been commented, like, I've heard from many people for multiple years now that I'm really good at hearing complex processes and visualizing them and creating them into these, visual maps. But that's very similar to coaching, right? You're hearing these complex thoughts, beliefs, feelings, decisions, etc., and you're knowing what to follow up on, and you're looking at it very creatively and very critically to help the person get where they're trying to go, and the tools to recommend and all of that, right? And my advice to this person, and my answer of why I'm so good at it, is mindfulness meditation. And I recommended that they start just with 2 minutes every day. And as an introvert with a very social business that you are giving, and thinking about other people all day and caring for them and their problems and their goals and their needs, you have to be filling your own cup so that you can sustain your passion for this work. It is the worst thing to me if a coach gets up and running and then burns out and quits their business. And the number one way to sustain yourself as an introvert, all of these tips included, right? But the top one, like the cherry on top, the most important thing is that you give yourself time every day to be in control of your surroundings and to give back to yourself with alone time, recharge time, mindfulness meditation time, whatever you want to call it, like self-care time, whatever, but like go inward every day. If you are an introvert, you need to know how to set boundaries with other people and set boundaries on your time so that you actually recharge, because introverts lose energy from being in social interactions. You are running a very social business as a coach. That means that you have an even higher need to be taking care of yourself and going inward and recharging. And that typically looks like being alone, doing things that recharge you, reading, writing, napping, meditating, journaling, whatever feels good for you, listening to music, like, I don't know, there's a whole lot of things, right? Painting, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to stop giving examples, but like just working on you, just being with you because otherwise you will burn out. Like, that is the clearest line I can draw for you. So make sure that all of these things you're taking into consideration, but that every single day you are making time for yourself. And stop listening to opinions from people that are not your ideal client. And like I said earlier, I genuinely mean it, that if someone doesn't like what you're doing in your business, they are not your ideal client, and that means their opinion doesn't matter. That is the root of confidence that makes it possible for me to do all of the social, outgoing, seemingly extroverted things that I do as a coach in my very social business as a coach. Sharing on social media, especially as an introvert that overthinks all the time. I have a very clear line of whose opinion matters and whose opinion doesn't matter. There's this Dr. Seuss quote that I've probably said on this podcast before, but I'm probably going to say it another 50 times, so get used to it and memorize it. Dr. Seuss's quote is, "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." And that is the root of where I get all my confidence and my ability to show up, even when I have social anxiety and I'm nervous. It's that I know at the end of the day, the people that matter to me don't mind me being me. And the people that do mind being me don't matter. They're not who I'm creating for, so obviously their opinion doesn't matter. They wouldn't like it. That makes sense. And I don't take it personally, so that I can keep on showing up, even with social anxiety and even with introversion as a predominant trait. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you are being compassionate to yourself and your inner world and your specific needs. This practice takes time. It's okay to start small and gradually challenge yourself bigger and bigger. And you deserve to have support from professionals who understand you and your goals. So if you're ready to hire me as your coach, I would love to talk to you about that. My signature program is called Passion to Paychecks, and I think it's the best business development program for new coaches that are ready to own their expertise, stop second-guessing their rates, and develop a results-oriented and transformative coaching program they can confidently sell online. And usually it's for $1,000 or more. So if that sounds like something you are ready to do, you want to build out your business as a coach, find me on social media, sign up for my webinar, get on a call with me, and let's talk. Because you should not have to deal with all of these questions and all of these goals on your own. And internalizing these lessons and personalizing them to you and your specific situation can be really hard to do on your own. And that is the beauty of having a coach by your side. So I hope this episode was helpful. And if you have follow-up questions, find me on social media and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. If this episode helped you gain a bit more clarity, courage, or confidence, please share it with your friends on social media or in a text. It would mean the world to me. Thanks in advance for sharing this episode. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.